So to prepare for an assessment, a legislature would need to identify dates that they're available, be able to understand that the team would come out and speak to a range of stakeholders, both within the Parliament, so the presiding officers, members of the legislature, but also stakeholders from civil society, from organisations that work with the Parliament, in order to provide a more holistic and broader picture of the legislature, in order to make an objective report with recommendations for that assessment.
I think that it's also important to realise that even though it might be a CPA facilitated assessment, it does require some capacity on the part of the Parliament to support the process, because the facilitators will need certain information, I think, beforehand. They'll need lots of reading material. They need the Constitution, standing orders, lots of policies, HR policies, budgets, information that has to be collated. And the Parliament needs to also be coordinating lots of the meetings in country. So it's not that everything can be done by the CPA or the external assessors. There still needs to be some, I think, support that needs to be done. So it's really important managing that expectation and managing that resource, particularly the timing that's needed to go into producing that, collating all that information.
And the other thing I would add on that is that the preparatory steps ahead of a self-assessment exercise taking place are entirely reciprocal. As Matt has pointed out, we do receive a lot of material and documentation from the branch ahead of time to help improve our understanding of the specific nature of the legislature ahead of facilitating the self-assessment exercise. But we also provide a lot of supportive material to our branches before travelling. We supply them with a copy of the benchmarks themselves, an accompanying field guide that outlines practical steps for how they may wish to facilitate the self-assessment exercise. We also provide them with a workbook, which includes all 132 of the benchmarks. They're grouped thematically to cover the organisation of the legislature, its functionality and its values. And that is a first opportunity for the branch to assess itself against the benchmarks, to tell us how they think they're doing, in which areas are they performing well and quite rightly should be celebrated for doing so, but also their initial thoughts as to potential gaps in their ways of working and some of the key priority areas that they would like to see improvements, changes, developments, evolutions made throughout the course of the self-assessment exercise. We also share with branches a participant's guide to the benchmark exercise, primarily for the benefit of external stakeholders that we will meet with on the ground to answer any questions, alleviate any concerns they may have about why we are visiting a particular jurisdiction and why we have requested to meet with them whilst we're on the ground.